Hi guys, I'm going to get my coffee. Hopefully you're going to get yours. And we are going to start. I'm going to start with introducing a little bit new moon in Gemini, which entered yesterday, which is still affecting us. And I'm going to play some music until we all gather. So let's start with this, and I'll see you in a few minutes. No, and I don't want to update this now. And it's not playing. And why is this? Oh, I think it's not playing because I was messing with everything yesterday, and I'm wondering if this is going to play at all. If you're going to hear me. Now, why is this not playing? I was yesterday cleaning, and I think I must have disconnected something. All right, well, you're going to give me a few minutes, and I'll be with you as soon as I grab my coffee. I'm going to let you maybe watch the Canadian money, which I prepared because I don't think I have ever shown you. So give me a second. Give me a second. Coffee. Coffee. Sapphie girl, is Sapphie walking everywhere? Let's remove this. Let's remove this so we can watch Sapphie. Yes. We can watch Sapphie. Hey kids, hi. Hi. What? What? Huh? What? What? You want a catnip? Really? Now? I put it in the spot where I always put it. Look at this, little Sapphie's paws are everywhere. Now, is anybody here? Can you guys hear me, or I need to go and crawl under my table in order to get even my microphone connected? Please let me know. I moved everything yesterday and I didn't test my thingy, so hopefully microphone works because the stereo doesn't work. Can somebody tell me, do you hear me? I'm going to type it. Can you guys hear me? Can somebody say yes? Otherwise, it's going to be lots of fun if you don't hear me. I'm so relaxed. Hopefully somebody's going to say yes, we can hear you. What's up, Tiger? Ooh, did I put sugar in this coffee? Hello, Crazy California. From Crazy California. Good morning, Anita. Good morning, Crystal. Empathic Truth Warrior. Barbie was here first. Yes, you can hear me. Awesome. Oh my gosh, this is saving me so much time because it will be just rough moving everything. So, I wanted to show everybody Canadian money, and I think I cleaned the table, but then Sapphie decided, oh, let's put my paw prints everywhere. So that's maybe what you're seeing. You just get something better to wipe it off. Paper towel. Paper towel. Paper towel. There we go. Happy Memorial Day, guys. This is horrible, right? It's having completely different feeling this year around, right? Need to put some sugar in the coffee. I think I forgot in this one. Put the sugar. Let's try. Okay, guys. In case you didn't know, this is Canadian money. This is our $1 bill. We have the Queen, pretty much in the back, which is weird. It is like 21st century, but we still have to pledge allegiance to the queen. But as you can see, here is the bear and here is a loonie, and that's why we call this a loonie, and this one we called toonie. So this is the most popular bill, 20 bucks. As you can see, it's transparent. You apparently can't burn it. I have never tried, to be honest. It's again, queen is over here. She's also on a $1,000 bill, which I don't think I ever had. I think I had it once. Then this was a very eccentric prime minister who was there in WW2. What's his name? William Lyon Mackenzie King. So as you can see, we kind of like have these two parts, and that's the cereal. And this is the introduced bill last year. This is Nova Scotia human rights icon Viola Desmond, and I really like its vertical. I only got this bill for the first time yesterday. I always had the stands that were like older, and this is the first one, and I cannot read it. This is like font number 1. Probably need us to kind of like figure out. So just wanted to show you. Don't you think we have really nice looking money? And talking about money, I need to now disinfect my hands. Hello, Barbie. Hello. Nice to see you, my mod and the other mods. Okay, so this is disinfectant, because I did actually disinfect this money to demonstrate. Well, you never know, because I woke up with my throat scratching and coughing, and it's just like it was 2 or 3 times during this 9 weeks of lockdown, so it's always a scare, of course, right? Okay, so as I said, it's a new moon in Gemini. It started yesterday, so this kind of like is going to give us a chance to really dream big. So except it's not letting you get there in that space if you have anxiety. And guess what? We have population anxiety everywhere, right? So new moons always bring new beginnings, but this kind of like luminary is a time of introspection and reflection. So Mars, which is planet of action, is in Pisces, and it's kind of like giving us determination to move toward our goals. And I need to remove this text over here. Just give me a second. Here we go. And what else? Also Saturn retrograde is reminding us that, you know, like, I mean, we need to build foundation first. Saturn is like sort of like the devil of the planet, so you need to have things right and properly, otherwise it's going to fall apart. Remember what happens after the devil card, the tower. When you didn't build it properly, it just freaking collapses, right? So also we have Neptune in Pisces, which kind of like adds confusion. And then also we'll have Mercury and Venus, both retrograde in Gemini. So Mercury retrogrades in Gemini. What can freaking go wrong? It's kind of like your ruler, right? But this is pushing us to make almost like impossible seeming choices. So we're going to be extra freaking brave, but also extra freaking crazy. Do not drink bleach. So remember, in short, during this new moon, we need to face our fears and feel what we are feeling, and then we can conquer the world, right? So I'm going to, as soon as I get to any sign that I'm addressing, talk about this as well. So we are going to start with, of course, happy birthday Gemini, and let me put it here, 8:59. So Gemini, how is this new moon going to affect you? So you're going to really need to level up. You're going to use some of your wit to boost your social status. Hi, Yummy Girl. Hi, Yummy Girl. And soon you guys are going to find success in everything you're working on. Even if you find this whole process frustrating. You see, I just cleaned the table. Don't give up, guys. You need to flex your muscles and everything will work out okay. You need to kind of like lead the way. We are going through your transition. So I'm using Lynn Strider Tarot. I think I maybe used it once or maybe never. This is a collector's tarot, and this one is actually still not shuffled yet. I think only shuffled once. No, sorry, it was when I tested it. And the sounds you're hearing is Tiger playing with Sapphie. Two of them adore each other. Hello! Hello, Heidi. Nice to hear you. Nice to see you. Hi, Mel. Hi, Soulshine, Kelsey. So nice to China, who is here as well. Okay, so you have Nine of Cups. But you know that I need to reverse some cards, right? Because I don't think they have been in reversal yet. Well, it must be, because I shuffled them initially. But I'm going to shuffle them a little bit more. I love this Nine of Cups card, and also Ace of Cups. It's just too bad that this deck is not better stock, because it's absolutely beautiful. So Nine of Cups, guys, is about, look at this. You have Nine of Cups, you have Six of Cups, and then you have the Hierophant. So just like as I was saying, right? You need to focus on your goals. That's what the Hierophant says. There, you might want to bend the rules. You will kind of like take one step back to go forward. It's going to be very important for you. It's going to be sort of like karmic time, balancing time. It's going to be feeling this week in particular for all of you Geminis. It's going to be very strong in a sense that is going to resonate for a long time to come. Nine of Cups tells me you're going to be happy. You're going to feel satisfied. You're going to feel you can do it. You're going to have the strength. Six of Cups is that Mercury retrograde where we go to, which kind of like literally messes you up. You might think of or go back to the old habits which were not good. Stay away from those cookies, stay away from those partners that you had a hard time before. No, they haven't changed, trust me on this one. But this is still kind of like nostalgia. This can also talk about going back to a situation where you kind of like felt everything was okay in your life, everything was working out, and you kind of like did everything with flying colors. So it's very important to kind of like, if you need to go step back, to maybe go to back to the situation where you worked, where you felt you were comfortable, that you see what was it that made you feel grounded, right? And then you kind of like set this as the rule. It's going to be that way forward, and you're not going to negotiate. I really like the Hierophant and this like big bear, because this is also talking about the feeling financially strong, feeling that you're going in a good direction, feeling that something is going to work out. So guys, like just as I said, be bold. You need to flex your muscles, you need to do work. Hierophant is sort of like not going to be your rule. It's going to be big rules, the rules of society, the rules of the church, the rules of the family. So it's going to be hard for you, but that's going to be the hard part, because you're a free spirit. You like to have your own rules, but this time around, it's going to be the best and the easiest path of success is just to follow and go through this trail that has been paid for you by the others. If my mother and a father, or somebody from work says, we are going to do it this way, and you're going to think, well, you're such an idiot, I can do it so much better. Don't think that this time. Just do it what they say, and just like see how that actually really works. All right, my dear Gemini, you're going to have really, really awesome kind of like week, that's for sure. So let's go in order this time around. Let's go Cancer. So you guys are a sensitive sign, but during this new moon you will be letting go of all the BS that has been kind of like orbiting you, right? So it's kind of like getting to the core, getting to the heart of the matter. It might be kind of hard, but it's going to be really necessary to move on, right? So when you hit the spot, it's something that you really need, you will be really focusing on your passions. So that's going to be really, really important for you to kind of like understand. Holy moly, you are getting King of Cups. This is you guys. Look at that. Then you have also the Hierophant, like Gemini did. So that's the Gemini energy. We always should pick, when we are listening to the weeklies, you always kind of like check the sign that is kind of like governing. So the transition of Gemini this time around. So the Hierophant, this is still the influence of May. There are like still certain things that are coming to the surface for you. But we also have Three of Wands, and we have the Hangman. So this is really interesting. You have a lion, you have a tiger over here, right? So it is talking about that fierceness that I told you. When you kind of like figure out your needs, you might get a little kind of like almost like mad that somebody is just like not giving something to you which you would think it's just like self-explanatory, such as honesty, such as truth, such as, you know, a sense of peace. If somebody was like pulling wool over your, like, eyes, you're not going to really look lightly at that. But at the same time, you're going to appear to the other people as someone who is really kind of having it pulled together, and you're not going to look stern or anything like that. In fact, you're going to look like a soft place to fall. Almost like looks like people will be coming to you for advice. People who are stuck, and I really don't think this Hangman is you, even though you need to be cautious. I need to caution you that your generosity and your empathy might drag you down a little bit, and you will be very, very good advisor this month. You're just going to go rely back on tried and true. You're not going to be, hey, you know what, why don't you try to swing off the like freaking high rise and see if you're going to track somebody. You will. The cops. That's not exactly like what you want, right? Hi, Abigail. You love cancer? Huh? How much? How much? How much? Yes, thank you. I had a conversation with her yesterday. I have to give her 24-hour notice, I guess, right? So she showed her furry ass over here. So the Hangman is a situation also where we look at things from a different perspective. And so this could simply mean that listening to the other people and empathically experiencing what they're going through is maybe going to give you insight in some situation that you might have. And you're going to be like, this is how this person is dealing with this. How do I, in the future integrate this in my own life? And it's going to be really important for you to kind of like really look in that direction. So it's going to be a pretty good week, I would say. It's going to be a lot of activity. I would also say maybe family gatherings if you guys can in your area, but it's going to feel comfortable. It's going to be all about rituals and rules, and I don't know if you're spending this weekend with people, but just you have to remember you're going to be the rock, and people will be coming to you and asking you for advice. So you're going to be placed on a pedestal, and so your advice will be valued. And also just don't be stingy with your advice, and even if you said it in the past, just repeat it, right? Because maybe people, it just maybe didn't land well. It's just like when you're seeding it and then not all seeds basically hatch, right? So just repeat it, be patient, and trust me, it's going to be highly, highly valued. You'll be really helping somebody. So the next one will be Leo. So let's see what we have here for Leos. Just one of the sips. It's weird. I'm not seeing any viewers. It's not showing me. So what? Nobody's here? Did the stream ended? It's really, really weird. Anybody here? It says 0. It's kind of like really weird. Leo. Leo. You're having the Fool. Do I need to refresh this? You're having a Three of Cups. Let me refresh this because nobody is responding to my question. So just want to make sure that we are still connected. Okay. and King of Pentacles reversed. Why did King of Pentacles reverse over here? So the Fool. The Fool is about hope. The Fool is about looking up. And it's the upright. So the Fool is really, really good, right? Heidi, that's good. Okay, now I'm seeing it. Like it was something stuck on my screen before. So I only have 11 likes. Please, guys, just spend a second and click on like. So the Fool is about a new beginning. The Fool is about, hey, in which direction do you really want to go? Sometimes it really, really talks about a new beginning, right? So this new moon, and that literally can connect to it, right? So it's going to be an opportunity to like basically show the world how really amazing you are, you know. But first you will really need to connect with people who will be down. You will be maybe engaging yourself in kind of like doing something that is for a good cause, right? So I don't know like if you guys are involved in some humanitarian projects. If so, that's going to fly really, really high, right? So generally when we are talking about the Fool, like I mean, we are talking about idealistic things, a new adventure, but also some kind of like innocence and kind of like taking that leap, right? So this is a card of potential. And you know, it's kind of like really interesting. In the reading, this is the card that most represents the you, Querent, yourself, right? So ultimately tarot is basically the Fool's journey, and sometimes the Fool can represent another person. If so, it represents a bachelor. Maybe it's a bachelor who doesn't want to get married, because the King of Pentacles show reversed, and King of Pentacles is about structure and everything. Or maybe there is a structure that something needs to be taken apart and cut in pieces, because there's like overall some kind of like sense of friendliness over here, right? So it's really, really important to understand that this also Fool is connecting to number 22. So that's that master number as well, which is really connecting to this full moon. So I would really take time to set your meditation, or just sit still and kind of like set the vision for yourself, and not just selfishly, but sort of like how you can contribute to the big picture. And that maybe it's not going to be energizing right away, but you're kind of like going to affect your own futures. It's very, very important. This worries me a little bit, and I'm going to clarify this, because King of Pentacles is really talking about firmness and enjoying the fruits of your labor, work, family, being married, somebody special coming in your life. Maybe you're flirting, guys. If you're flirting, I mean, like you're maybe opening yourself to something new. Maybe there's like some kind of friendship going on. I love, love, love Three of Cups. To me, this is always very Aquarian thing. But look at this. Like you have air, you have water, and you have earth. What is missing? Fire is missing. So where are you? Why is the action not there? Well, yeah, I'm going to say freaking pandemic. I cannot go anywhere, right? King of Pentacles could also mean that you're a little bit worried about your own finances, about your financial direction as well. But it could mean that you are meeting or met somebody who is presenting himself or herself as the person. Remember my little unicorn? He's like, I love you, you're amazing. And next thing you find out is like, well, you know, he or she is not that amazing. It's made in China. Come on. And so be careful. Be careful, because you will be, I think, demasking people. But since you're willing to take this new step, remember what I said, you will be able to affect the change. So you don't really have to go with the regular advice, such as like, well, these are red flags, or, you know, what the hell are you thinking? You're just going to be who you are. You're going to be enthusiastic. You're going to be friendly. And that's going to kind of like be a kryptonite to anything bad that may happen this week. So just be careful, or just keep your, thank you, Heidi, just keep your mind open, because this is going to be all about you. And I want to see this like King of King of Pentacles. No, Rose, Virgo will be next. So what we have here, we have Money reverse. This is about some kind of secrets. We have Melancholy, and we have Melody. Maybe you're dealing with somebody who has something to hide, let's put it that way. You know, maybe you're dealing with somebody who might be a little bit depressed. I mean, like most of us are freaking losing our crap right this time around. Because Melody, to me, oh my gosh, I hope you're not dealing with somebody really sick, because that can literally mean that as well. But Melody, to me, more or less talks about depression, somebody who is a little bit kind of like toned down. Maybe you're dealing with somebody who has something going on, and hence it almost like feels like you're walking on eggshells, right? That kind of like stuff. Money is really interesting here, because money the most connects to King of Pentacles. Almost looks like this is kind of like more like a clarification of the very first card, and it's reversed, and it's really talking about loss of money. And that can be due to money being wasted or being laid off in this whole situation, or maybe somebody spending money in vain. So be very careful about your budgeting as well. Kind of like, I don't see anything that's like it spells ending right after it. It almost looks like you need to kind of like look in your financial well-being. So be very careful that somebody doesn't ask you in some kind of investment and you think, I'm going to recover really quickly, and you know, I'm going to, you know, just invest into this. I was just reading yesterday an article about Canadian lottery winners and how they have quote-unquote curse, how not enough is that to win 6 or 7 millions or whatever they want, but they also want to kind of double it and triple it, and they're getting in all kinds of schemes and not following basically the guidelines that they're being given. So, and that's really, really important. I remember when I went to the seminars, and it was a money seminar. Basically they were telling how to create wealth, and you know, Tony Robbins, that kind of stuff. I was like really big into that about 15 years ago, but it was like one of the piece of advice. T. Harv Eker was one of the best seminars I've seen. What was it? Millionaire something, Millionaire Mind, Have a Millionaire Mind. And I recommend this book. It's really, really good. So he was saying, look, you are who you are. If you make more money, you're just going to be more of who you are. If you're a wonderful person, you're going to be freaking fantastic with lots of money. If you're a jerk, you're going to be unbearable. So he said that just like more money is only going to emphasize more of who you are. So that's why it is something to be careful. And he was saying, like, first year, you should just lock it up, or have like 2 or 3 people who need to sign any quote-unquote investment to hold yourself from many people who are slick and talking and dragging people in. So something like that might be happening to you. Be careful, especially if you kind of like inherited some money. Maybe you're depleting your savings. Maybe you're making poor investment choices, right? So it's time to kind of like plan and be kind of like really wise financially. You know, this card is actually connecting to 6 of Cups in tarot, which is kind of like talking about something from the past resurfacing. So whatever it is, maybe you have dealt with something in the past, it might kind of like come to the fore again in this particular period. All right, Virgo, you're next. Virgo, you're next. Oh, you did go to his seminars? Did you like it, Chris? I really like this. So it is like Virgo. To me, it was like very powerful, and it was like for a while I was thinking, oh my gosh, I just want to be just like him. This is so amazing. And actually I went to the seminar when he was teaching them. Oh, my neighbor is just saying it's some kind of emergency going on in my building. It's just amazing. Okay, just give him a text. What is going on? Oh no. Oh no. I hope nothing serious. So Virgo. Ooh, Virgo. You are getting Knight of Cups, King of Swords, and 7 of Pentacles. Well, Knight of Cups is really good, guys. If you're in a flirty mode, you it's kind of weird. This is what is happening during Venus retrograde. If you guys are having a relationship or are planning to have one, it's going to be sort of like switch and bite and switch, what they call it, right? So Knight of Cups is that, like, I mean, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful prince in a shining armor who's coming and wooing you and loving you and bringing you flowers, drinking, like, I mean, like writing poems and that kind of stuff. It's very romantic kind of a thing, and you're almost like lulling yourself into, yeah, 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 this is great. So this is kind of like Venus retrograde. However, this person is really this King of Swords, which is not bad, but this is not necessarily your cup of tea. King of Swords, mind you, you might not actually, you might not mind, because King of Swords can be also very analytical. It's very fair, but it doesn't have this emotional engagement. However, this dude over here doesn't have the reasoning, the mind, the intellect, the eloquence of this dude here. So it's almost like this is the best of two worlds, but kind of like it's really tough in relationships. People would pick the cups rather than basically swords, right? Look, we air signs, that's why we are not very popular. We are really blunt, we say things, crap comes out of our mouth and that kind of stuff. But we are going to be fiercely loyal. We are going to be fiercely fighting for you and for the family, right? And in crisis, you cannot find a better sign. You might be facing a choice, or you might be seeing that somebody who you thought is one way is now showing a different face, or somebody's really firm, or maybe you're really looking up to someone. I don't know, like, if this actually can talk about legal issues, and I don't know if everything is closed where you are because it's still closed in Toronto. It could be about some kind of payments, because Seven of Pentacles is about, look at it, she's like sitting on her eggs over here and trying to see, you know, like, I mean, for them to really hatch, but it's reversed. It's kind of like letting go of something. Certain things are just not doable. So maybe like you are going to see progression of the person in a way that you'll feel it's really great, but maybe it's not working for you. Or maybe somebody else is going to feel that way toward you. It's going to be a discussion of some sort. So let me clarify the Seven of Pentacles and see what's happening there. So let's see. So we have child, we have messenger reversed, we have cheerfulness reversed, we have sweetheart reversed, and we have old woman. You know what this, guys, can also mean? That so this is clearly, this can be a third party situation. This is something new, and maybe messages are not flying. Maybe like there is some kind of relationship that got stuck and it needs to get unstuck. In order to get unstuck, you're like really wondering where you are. There could be some kind of limbo. I think somebody doesn't want to continue it, but I don't really think it's going to be fully discontinued this week, and rather it's going to look for some kind of advice. An old woman in this deck can represent anything from your elderly friend to your mother to your tarot reader to a therapist. It is somebody who is kind of like knowledgeable about their own stuff, right? So this is really important. And like when you put this in perspective with this new moon in Gemini, because you guys are also ruled with Mercury, right? So something in your career might be paying off. This could be also your boss, guys. Maybe you're going to feel super exhausted, and like it's really telling you, look, you really need to smell the roses, you need to take a nap, and you need to kind of like recharge your batteries, because this is kind of like, it might be some kind of setback for sure, but it's done for a reason, to set you properly on the right path, right? So with this kind of like old woman is really important to really understand that, you know, this is some kind of like wisdom, and there's like something to gather from the experience that kind of like you all have. And like, what is going on with my screen? Like, why am I freezing over here? No cards. Why is this? What is going on here? Let me see. I refreshed it. Why is this doing? Why? It almost looks like it's stuck. Okay. And I don't see it recording here. And why is this? Okay, so let's look at my camera. I might need to restart this. And this is still not moving. It's like not on the table. I have 2 for 5 cards, 8 cards, and all I'm seeing there is like really nothing. So let me just exit here. Let's see if you see it. That's the Mercury retrograde coming to us. Let me see. There we go. Ta! So I'm having this whole freaking morning like this. Like, I mean, just like what they see on my screen is like not what they see, like I'm in here. So guys, just tell me you can hear me, but the things froze. So these are the cards for Virgo, guys. So just you will need some rest. You will need kind of like give yourself some time and just listen to the wise advice. Don't give up on something, and don't kind of like count your chickens yet, right? It's very, very important, right? So yay, cards. I know it's weird. Sorry, Virgo, it was like messy. So that's kind of like why it is. So the next one that is coming up would be Libra. So Libra. Now Libra, like this is new moon in Gemini. This is a sister sign, right? So what's happening here is that you're kind of like really having high expectations. You're putting like really pressure on yourself, but you might be setting yourself up for failure. Oh boy, it takes one to know one. Like, I mean, like my chores for yesterday was clean the house, clean the car, you know, change the tires, and then like, I mean, after the second one, you're like so tired, right? So then you're beating yourself, I didn't do it, where actually you did enormous amount of things. So you really need to slow down, right? And you need to be practical, kind of like, hey, maybe you really want to go after that world domination, maybe that's exciting, but kind of like start small and make like kind of like much smaller goals that you would otherwise, and generate a sense of accomplishment. That's going to be really important during this like phase of a new moon. So let's see, Libra, we have the Star reversed, and then we have the Strength. It's almost like the same energy that we see here. You also have the Hierophant, and you have Page of Swords. So sorry to say, guys, you might be a complete dick this particular week, right? So this is the Star. This is about hope. This is about moving in a direction which kind of like is this new thing that I told you, like you're going to have your kind of like high expectations. You will really kind of like want to go and kind of like do stuff, right? Strength is very similar. It's like they both have this vibration of 8, especially if you're dealing with something at work or if you're dealing with a new relationship. I don't know if you're dealing with Aquarius. I would say this is not going to be the nicest week. It's going to be lots of clashes. Words will be exchanged. However, like you have 3 major arcanas. There is like a shift happening within you, right? Like all the cards add to 21, and 21 is the World card. So is the World card going to be upright or reversed? It's going to be entirely up to you. Remember what I said, world domination? Ta-da! It just like showed the World card over here. So world is everything or nothing, where you feel like you're like really accomplished or just complete loser, right? So it's very important here. The Hierophant keeps repeating in readings, which is like kind of set the rules. Be strong. Don't overreact, even though I see that's not going to work all the time. Page of Swords is somebody who might not be you. It might be that somebody is right in your face, and maybe you don't have a patience to just like, I mean, listen to them or just like walk away. It's just like somebody is really annoying you with almost like idiocy, right? Like, I mean, a few days ago I overreacted. I was in a dog park and massively people came to dog park to have a picnic. Well, what could go wrong? Children and fire and food in a dog park, and I had to drive 20 minutes to get there. So I asked them, do they think this is appropriate? And I was told that I'm stupid and that I need to F off, right? And then basically you tell them the same. which is really lowering my vibration. And something like that is like something you need to put in perspective. Whenever you react like that, you then need to kind of like go back and rebuild yourself, and it's really never good for your progress. But it's going to be some knee-jerk reaction, maybe again over somebody not following the rules. Maybe you're feeling it's really hard for you to follow these rules, and like, why in the world these people cannot do the freaking same. Maybe you're going to call somebody and ask them if maybe there's like somebody diligence that is really coming in mind. The star, when it reverses, like you're feeling that somebody is hopeless, that some situation is hopeless or someone is hopeless. So let me check the star and the page of swords. The star is melancholy. Maybe this is you. You're feeling a little bit under the weather. Maybe you're guys not simply sleeping enough. Melancholy is not necessarily depression, but it's kind of like when you're stuck. But you have strength card here, which is really important, which means it's going to pull you through the biggest things you're going to handle. And this is like more or less, it's just going to be cranky from time to time, not a big deal. But let's check this page of swords as well, because page of swords is like one who's like right in your face, right? And it's just like really, really uncomfortable. It smells like a child, right? So you have service, you have haughtiness, and you have letter. So somebody's really vain, I think. Maybe it's going to be some text communication or meeting somebody, especially if you're a guy dating online. Somebody's really, really going to present themselves very, very well, or is going to ask questions that are very inappropriate, and you're going to really take a note of that. I really don't like hotness when it comes like reversed, right? Because this is really, actually, it may suggest a healthy awareness of somebody's limitations, right? Maybe you're going to see that somebody cannot really give you what you want or something like that, right? In the context, I mean, generally can really talk about somebody very, very vain, right? But together, it can actually talk about maybe hooking up with someone, resumption of a friendship or a relationship, right? Or clearly, maybe you need to clear the air. Maybe certain words need to be spoken in order to, I don't know, kind of like resolve some kind of like past behavior, right? And I think this is connecting because maybe it was some kind of like sadness. Maybe it was some kind of like emotional turbulence in the past. And now, let's set the rules. Let's see how we move forward, and then you do. And you do move forward still knowing that, hey, you know what, it's not going to be smooth sailing, but like, I mean, you're feeling really good about yourself, right? So that's all good about it. Okay, my friend Mike is telling me that the ambulance is off, which is good, So next one is Scorpio. My friend Mike is Virgo, and it's like so funny. We live literally just like a few buildings apart. We walk dogs together, and he went into panic mode when we got this virus thing. He said, I just cannot walk the dog, it's just locked in. And then he said, I'm so depressed, I just cannot do it. He's like working from home, at least he's working, right? It's funny. So I'm getting like about 10 messages a day about the new findings about coronavirus. So I think that guy's an expert. I mean, he's also an accountant, right? So Scorpio, let's see how this information is going to be relevant to you, Scorpio. This one wants to come out, and it is Ace of Pentacles. Lovely. Welcome, Barbie. And what else do we have? We have the Chariot. We have 7 of Pentacles, but then we have 5 of Cups. Why do we have 5 of Cups? Don't you like these cards? Or it's just too stylish for you guys? I really like watercolors. Ace of Pentacles talks about new seed and moving in a new direction. And I see the bunny over here. So I'm wondering if it was something that is pushing you back, because that's why the 5 of Cups is showing up here. Was it something around Easter, guys? That maybe you had a breakup, or it was a time to move in a new direction, or it was like just hold the situation that is kind of like making you reposition yourself, maybe even financially. A Chariot is the card that we are kind of like going toward our own goals, and it is the most important card that you have over here because it is a major arcana, right? And he, in tarot, charioteer, like, I mean, holds no reins, and the horses have no bridles, right? So simply, right, because the next card is strength, so they're directed towards strength and strength of will and balance over here. However, the chariot represents struggle, which is kind of like both internal and external, right? Fighting your own demons, right? But it's also representing victory through will and discipline. We did see Hierophant in the other signs. You have chariot really strongly, and that's also connecting to water over here, right? So this is really a strong card. It's kind of like full of symbolism, right? It is victory, but it's also will, and it's also sacrifice. Most people don't perceive Cancer, which is the card that rules Cancer, as fast-moving, goal-oriented, but they freaking are. You kind of like, I don't know if you're dealing with Cancers over here or Earth signs, so you have water and Earth really showing strongly over here. So this coming up here, kind of like connecting with this new moon in Gemini. So it is about power, and we are all afraid to surrender our power, right? Sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes it's need to be vulnerable. We don't like to be vulnerable because then we feel we are giving people information about us, and then they can have an upper hand. But it's about you. It's not about them. So there's like something about the walls that you have built around you. You need to make them fall down. So you need to kind of like figure out, how do you let people get close to you, right? And you maybe kept somebody at a distance. This is going to be worth it. If you don't do it, I really think this is like almost like showing up as two possible ways out. Some of you might not be brave. Some of you maybe have to set something in motion that is going to be really long term, right? Ace of Pentacles is that huge promise, my favorite ace. It's not something that happens easily, but it's almost like you get a job and you still don't know what's going to happen, but it's a good company, you're paid well, people are respecting you, and you feel, oh my gosh, I can stay here forever, kind of a thing. It's kind of like a feeling like of that new beginning, of something new kind of like pushed in this direction. But it also, you just cannot expect that everybody just gives, give me, right? Because Five of Cups can talk about sadness, but like generally, traditionally, Five of Cups, and like we see an owl and we see an eggs, and it's also interesting, she's also holding 3 eggs, but 2 of them are not warmed up, right? But it's really interesting that she's holding on to something that is already broken, that maybe she's sad over certain things that have happened, but she doesn't really know that, or she's not focusing on certain things that are really working very well. And that is really important thing about this card, 5 of Cups. And what do we have here is scholar, letter, and conversation. Well, therapy comes to mind, but like, I mean, it could be a group of people, it could be simply discussion, it could be something even through texting, through typing. It's going to be educated decision, but like, I mean, when we see scholar and conversation together in letter, it almost like could be some kind of like a decision that you need to make, or contract that you need to sign, right? So conversation is always about exchange of information. It's a clarification. Could be some kind of like apology over here that you kind of like need to deal with. It could be meeting between friends or some kind of like gathering, right? So you might, if that's about the love, have some kind of like intimate or really affectionate dialogue. Maybe, hey, where is this going? Because 7 of Pentacles is not super exciting card to move forward, but it is going forward. It's saying like, okay, this is how we move forward, and sort of a very pragmatic way, where this is like this having this high expectations and not kind of like them not being met. But you have to figure out if they're not being met because somebody doesn't dare to go your way, because they're not feeling that you're vulnerable, it's not easy to engage with a person who is not vulnerable. Yeah, in a different form of relationship, a boss or associate, but not a friend or girlfriend or boyfriend, right? You might also have some kind of like invitation. Maybe you're going to hear about somebody being engaged. Maybe you're getting engaged. Maybe there's like a pregnancy. Family ties are strong. It's all good. But you guys need to heal something in you. You need to realize where the walls are. You need to realize that you're strong enough. Remember I said the chart is about the strength and victory. You need to realize that you're really strong enough to kind of like go in a certain direction. So do not be a chicken, okay? That's really, really important. Then Sagittarius. Let's go Sagittarius. Sagittarius. Oh. No, we are doing doors, as Barbie said. So let's do that. You guys think of a question. You think of a question. I'm going to hide the screen. There you go. I actually prepare cards. I'll go a little bit different today. So the door number 1. Ask a question. Nothing. Oh, I got like 17 cards over here jumping out. So, okay, I have a door number 1. Door number 2. And door number 3. All right, so let's remove this and find you guys here. Okay, so for those of you who have picked door number 1, you have the house and the clover, pardon me. This is really good. It could have been something about firmness, foundations, finances, control, stability. You're going to get lucky. Clearly, like you got the clover, it's yes, but it's not a big yes. It's a small yes. Nonetheless, it's a starting point of some kind of like foundation, right? It's really, really important, right? It could be something connected to your residence. It could be something connected to domestication. It could be that you are like really hoping for the best and kind of like going in a certain direction. Sort of like the clover is make a wish and kind of like keep it with yourself. For those of you who picked a door number 2, you got the child. It's really talking about some kind of like maybe memories, but it's like some kind of innocence. There's like something clearly starting over here. A child is a card that kind of like pushes us in the direction of we are already going, that meant about this question, you have been already working toward that, and you already had a feeling that this is going to happen. It is just going to have sometimes ups and downs, but overall it's going to be yes, and it's going to start moving forward, right? And the door number 3, you have the snake. It could be that you have asked about a particular person, or maybe if you're a woman, there's like somebody who is a rival, or who is a competition of some sort, or who gossips behind your back of some sort. But a snake can also be simply talking about a woman, a girlfriend of some sort. It's not necessarily the most, let's say, negative card, right? It's more or less neutral, I would say. It can talk about somebody, I guess, divorce as well. But be careful, it can be also a very sexy card, that somebody is being blinded by being, infatuated with someone, right? So be on the lookout around you. So I would say here, if this is like a question about ex-lover, and it was like something like that, there is like a lack of trust in the situation. It could be jealousy, it could be lies and dishonesty. So be very, very careful about that. As far as the career question, be careful about the people who are talking behind your back, as that's going to be almost like the name of a thing. So proceed with caution. This is neither yes nor no, but proceed with caution. Do not go out and demand certain things to happen, because it looks like you don't know everything over here, and that's really, really important, right? All right, so now Sagittarius, you're getting your turn next. Sagittarians. Barbie, I think many people will find out working from home is effective and safe. It is, but it's also depressing. I'm working from home for such a long time. So it depends if you introvert or extrovert, I guess, right? If you're extrovert, you need other people, and I usually go during my lunch hour and I eat somewhere else, right? So to see people, and I get that feeding, right? Look at my extroverted nature. So you guys have Sagittarius, 3 of Cups, you have Page of Swords, and you have Knight of Wands. So 3 of Cups is about party, it's about gathering, it's about kind of like doing things, and this is you. Knight of Wands always shows about you. So I don't know, is this like, I mean, father and the son? And oh my god, does it ever look phallic over here? Like, Knight of Wands are always talking about somebody's really not staying around for one reason or another, right? And so be very careful with the Page of Swords. It's like somebody who is overly opinionated, but it's also about the truth. Maybe some truth has to come through. It's kind of like really weird how the progression goes. It's almost like the week starts really slow and nice and comfortable, and then it goes into kind of like you know, hey, let's talk about it, right? So in this deck, like, I mean, this woman is showing pages as young women, and generally they're talking about young men, but they're neutral, they're gender neutral, right? It can indicate somebody either young or somebody immature, right? Or it can talk about a truth that just like arrives, and it's really kind of like quote unquote green, right? So this is strongly related to messages and messengers, right? So, you know, and I guess that's why they have the envelopes. They can be also seen as money. It's interesting that they started as money, but they clearly look like envelopes coming through. So maybe you guys need to simply open your bills and deal with your bills. Maybe you need to kind of like address something. Maybe there is like a something in the form of a letter of some kind of like sort, right? So you might be holding a really important truth about your life, because we're also talking about, as I said, about this, like, I mean, new moon. And this new moon for you, and that's the opposite sign of yours, right? That we are going through new moon in Gemini. So your optimistic attitude, you know, it really talks about some kind of like romance over here. But I would say that you are maybe more in love with an idea of love. So you really need to kind of like remove your glasses and kind of like see the person you are with kind of like clearly. People are people, they have pluses, they have minuses, and you know, like, I mean, nobody likes to be placed on a pedestal and be taken down. So you have to kind of like see what you really want and what you're getting from your own environment, right? I don't know if there's like anything here to clarify over here, because it's kind of self-explanatory. It could be busy, it could be kind of like doing things, but simply kind of like it's going to be some kind of communication. Maybe I want to get this Page of Swords over here. Yeah, conversation. It's just like, I mean, tarot doesn't lie, right? So there's like, I mean, something that needs to be expressed, something that needs to be heard. So I can see the gathering, I can see things. Be safe, keep a distance. We are not out of trouble over here. So that's you, Sagittarius. Barbie is saying, I think some companies will not have people return. Well, it's going to be tough. In Canada, they have created something that is called CERB, Canadian Emergency Response Benefit, which is $2,000 every 4 weeks, which is kind of to help to get through if you have been laid off or something. But every day they're talking about restaurants closing, etc. It's tough. my business suffered. So we are all into it, right? So we just have to buckle up and hope for the best. So the next one is Capricorn. So let's see, what do we have for you, Capricorn? Choir teacher, really having to make everything. Capricorn grounding. Oh, there you go. And Pisces creativity. That's a great combination for that. Yeah, I'm in the same shoes, Heidi. So you have, guys, Page of Pentacles. We are just talking about, like, it's a new beginning, it's a new fresh. It's not something we are looking forward, especially if you spend years building your business and now, like, oh my gosh, I'm doing it again. How many times in my life I have to go through these hoops? So it's a Page of Pentacles. It's again kind of like some kind of like messaging, and then you have an Eight of Cups, and then you have a Two of Pentacles. For you guys, it's quite a bit about you're trying to figure out what you can salvage over here, I would say. So Page of Pentacles is a really good card. It's a promising card. It's like something that kind of like goes in a positive direction. Unfortunately, it's slow. But Page of Pentacles, pages to me are always almost like aces, like, right? It's a new direction. It's kind of like, look, she's sitting on a rock and she's like really, really sexy, if you can see it over here in this deck, right? So it is about some new beginning. It is about prosperity, like, right? It's kind of like going from this Ace to Two of Pentacles. Sure, we need to maybe juggle it a little bit, but it could be like, kind of like good omen for financial material success. And this Eight of Cups is kind of like leaving something behind. Maybe, it's just like in Croatian we say you find no bread, meaning it's not feeding you anymore. You need to kind of like revamp. You need to kind of like dust your resume. You need to kind of like try different things, right? Because in readings, pages are as messengers. Somebody's letting you know something, and almost looks like there's this message that is being kind of like left behind over here. And this page introduced that financial aspect to whatever else is going on in the reading, right? So if this is a kind of like love you're thinking about, it might be telling you kind of like all sorts of things about that prospective mate, right? But if kind of like talks about finances, then that's going to be important part in the relationship, right? So that's really, really important here to know. So Eight of Cups is really telling me there's like something here that feels you deserve better, you want better, you want to go in this direction. Walking away, somebody walking away. But Eight of Cups is not, if you wish, permanent walking away. Somebody's saying, I need to find myself. I need to find my own truth. I need to find what I really need. And hence, maybe you were counting on someone, and now you need to rely upon yourself, and there's like this kind of balance that you're jungling. Maybe you're counting on a job, maybe you're counting on a promotion, it's not happening. So it could be some kind of like setback, or it could be you who is actually deciding that you're not going to do certain things because, hey, something over here is no longer progressive. It's no longer kind of like giving me the benefits of what I need. So let me just clarify this Eight of Cups. Good morning, Lorna. How are you? Look at this. Like, I have very little people for Memorial Day scholar. Yeah, you know what, guys? Like, whatever you do, this is really interesting because Page of Pentacles is also often a scholar. So it's kind of like similar. And it's about studying something. It's very studious. So you're going to really look under the rock. You're going to turn every kind of like, stone. Make sure you're going to be crossing all your T's, dotting all your I's. Very, very important. So if something starts wobbly, that's okay, because that beginning and the step is going to be very important to walk away from something or reach a decision about something that is just simply not workable or not doable. Okay, my Aqua people, let's see what we have over here coming up for us this week. I need to do my monthlies this week. So Knight of Cups, that's unusual. Who is going to woo us? And the Hierophant, it's reversed, which is good when it comes reversed for, and then Knight of Wands, I think it was reversed. Do we have a Sagittarius or Taurus or Scorpio coming through? Look at the people and people and people. It's really interesting. Nine of Cups is kind of like the Knight in the Shining Armor. The Nine of Wands is, so we have these knights. Knights are not staying. And looks like there is like this level of impermanence. Is this the word? When things are not permanent, right? Where we kind of like want to, we have fixed sign. We want to put a finger on something, but it just like looks like it's all moving target of some sort, right? So the Hierophant is the dominant card over here. It's the major arcana. It really talks about this learning and study and organizations and community, right? All this is important. Maybe that's why it is like we are missing this, and it's kind of like ruled by Taurus, right? And the worst kind of like poo-poo was hit during the end of Aries and Taurus over here, right? So it's kind of like a situation where everybody is adhering to the system and to the rules, right? And you know, I just mean, I don't think we really want to engage. It's kind of like that's what this tells me. There are people over here that on one hand you want to engage, on the other hand like you're thinking, okay, it's premature. Actually, it's funny, that's what I was thinking this morning, like because last week I started to be a little bit more reckless. I even went to the store without a mask. I forgot it at home, and I was thinking, oh, not a big deal. And then today my throat is scratching, and I was like, oh, I hope that one freaking time I didn't pay attention didn't cost me, right? So that could be like some situation like that, right? So it's just like trying to kind of like shake off the rules, right? This could also mean kind of like more self-focus versus community focus. We're always kind of trying to see how we can be of some kind of like service of some sort, right? It can represent also that we will be questioning leadership of authority, and that we are assessing our own position, who we are, who's messing with us, kind of like to tell us like our peace of mind, right? It can represent a specific person, and it's really important to kind of like examine those relationships and how is this basically relating to our success. This is also a healing card, and you know that I don't do the healing things, but it's about cleansing your space. It's telling you that you need to be careful which people you let in your life, because these people might be very transient. These people might not necessarily stay. So as long as you're aware of that, it's all good, right? But the Hierophant is like showing that firmness about our own opinions. I really want to see why is this reversing. And what I got is wedding, which is also the Hierophant. To me is also a marriage card. It's also about the rules and its journey. It can mean that there's like somebody from the past that is coming back, because with this new moon in Gemini, this is going to be all about setting boundaries. It's going to be hard, but we need to stop and think twice before like we just have a whole bunch of text to our crush, for example, right? So this is going to be very important to be very chill, like Aquarius, kind of like, okay, nothing bothers me, like kind of like water off the duck's back, that kind of stuff, right? Which is really interesting. Wedding in this particular deck is like very kind of like arranged marriage kind of a thing, if you really wish, right? It can talk about new responsibilities of some sort, right? It can also talk about the loss of independence as well, and that's kind of like a new journey, but like you lose some, you win some, right? It's about responsibilities over here. That is something moving in your direction. You know, it can talk about a pivotal moment, that something that is so significant that you're not going to see it. You know what they say, you cannot see forest from the tree because you're just staring at a tree, but you will eventually move back and you're going to see this whole freaking picture. It's going to be meeting of the minds of some sort, where we Aquarians are going to have to really exercise our will, and be careful also about significant meetings or partnerships that are being forged, because some people are just not going to show the strength that you have, right? So that's very, very important, right? But I really think it's going to be a contracts and negotiations, and it's going to be very important for you, important to kind of like move in a new direction. So it's all good. We are used to people just waltzing in our life, waltzing out. But this Knight of Cups means that it's going to be very pleasurable. You might feel romantic, and you might watch a really nice movie. If you guys didn't watch The Wrong Missy, it was freaking hilarious. I mean, it's a little bit weird, but it was hilarious. So, the next one is Pisces. Pisces. Look at Barbie. Guys, a round of applause for Barbie. Look at this. She's like advising everybody. So nice and organized. So happy to have you, Barbie, around. And of course, on the way out, like try to give her a shout out when you see the reading posted. It's also good to check this reading a few times as well, right? So you guys have 10 of Pentacles. Not bad. I love. You have 9 of Cups. You Pisces are going to have such a good week. 10 of Pentacles. Look at how lovely this is. It's not like the whole freaking family, but we have 2 dogs or 3 dogs and the family looking forward, and this is only just like a sketch, which means they're looking in this vision. They're looking in what they really want. And 9 of Cups is that feeling of accomplishment, feeling of happiness. 9 of Wands is again something getting really active, something getting out. There is like a re-engagement of some sort in a situation, but it's kind of like really feeling comfortable, guys, for you. And this is like the water, which is really connecting with you, right? So the Knight of Wands can talk about a partner. So this is the only thing that I kind of like need to caution you a little bit, because 10 of Pentacles is about somebody looking really good on a paper. Somebody is like feeling right. Somebody's feeling family's okay, or simply can talk about your family and things are kind of like doing really well in that respect. Where Knight of Wands is not necessarily having a staying power, right? Knight of Wands is like more or less, we are talking about acceleration, excitement, and this can be also travel, right? But new ideas, right? It's almost like hanging on to your hat, right? And that kind of like really connects with your new moon in Gemini, because I really think that we have been going through a roller coaster of emotions, but this was very especially applied on you, I would say, right? So this particular kind of like new moon, it's almost like a wake-up call for you that you really need to embrace yourself, everything, including your flaws. Hey, you know what? Like, and this is it. I always wanted to hide this, but you know, this is who I am. And if other people don't like it, well, you know what? It's my life to live. Do not be harsh on yourself, Pisces. You need to try to give yourself more TLC, and you need to give yourself a really big hug. It's very important, right? This is like about being dynamic. Maybe this is like, again, you getting out of, this is kind of like discomfort. I'm feeling comfortable within my family. I'm feeling good in my skin. And now that could be you, right? Or it could be somebody who is a great person to have in your team or besides you when you really need enthusiasm, but you also need speed and kind of like action to get out of the gate, right? So it can represent someone in your life. And if you think about who that is, it's kind of like easily to kind of like determine somebody dynamic, athletic, and enthusiastic, and it's kind of like somebody who is really hard to turn down when it comes to romance, right? But you need to remember that as fast as someone like that can move, they can also move on with equal speed. That's the problem with knights. They're like really seductive, but they don't really have the staying power, right? So you need to really enjoy actually this week, but don't count on them to kind of like stay put, right? But this also can talk about the energy that is really needed for success, right? Because it is really there, and it actually can set you up in going in a kind of like new direction and kind of like having new goals. And that, I feel, it's kind of like building something financial of some sort, some nature. It's 11-11 for Barbie, and it's 12-11 for the rest of us. So, well, we almost like done. So the next one is Aries. So Aries, what do we have for you guys? Aries. Aries. It's so nice and warm in Toronto, guys. We are going in full scorching hot summer. I had to be in the shade this morning when I went out for a walk with Tiger. It's crazy. We had winter last week, like wearing a winter coat, and it was snowing. What can I tell you? It's freaking weird. And this is also weird. So we have 5 of Pentacles, but it's reversed. So good news. The Emperor, which is your card, but it's reversed. And we have the Moon. So 2 majors over here, guys. There is like this whole energy of 9 that is really prevalent, right? So the Moon is 18, 1 and 8 is 9, and also the Emperor is 4 and 5 here. So we have the 9. So there is like some kind of conclusion, if you wish. 5 of Pentacles really talks about hardship, and it talks about you kind of trying to figure out who your friends are, who your enemies are, who you can count on. And when you realize that you really need people, then very, very few will come through. And some of them can be just very rude when you're asking for help, even though you have been there for them when they needed that. So when it is reversing, it's really talking about the certain things are now kind of like getting a different clarity, right? You kind of like going in a different direction of some sort, but in a good one too. You're not feeling devastated anymore, right? But it can have some, maybe you are going to be accused that you're selfish, that you're greedy, and it's going to kind of like take you off your balance. And maybe this is why the Emperor is reversed, because you're not feeling comfortable. You might kind of like start lashing out. It might be a little bit of kind of like a defeatist attitude, right? Even though, guys, this is a really great time to kind of like give things back. That's why you have the Moon over here. And this new moon is like really asking you to kind of like put this extra energy in projects. These projects really might be a little bit boring. I really have to say this, right? But they might not satisfy the passionate nature that you have over here, right? So it tells me that you're putting yourself entirely in some kind of like project, right? So you really need to kind of like really, I would say, brainstorm what you want, and embrace kind of like new beginnings, embrace these new directions, right? We are going to clarify this 5 of Pentacles, because the Moon is like sometimes things are not really appearing as they really are. And that's also with Venus retrograde. We kind of like, we are certain that we have certain direction, that we are going into something, and yet it doesn't for some reason, right? I don't know, maybe some of you are smokers, that can all talk about it, and it's kind of like getting to you both on financial and on a health level. And there are like certain things that are you're reviewing, almost like even your finances and what is really holding you back, and it's going to be very, very interesting, right? But I really think that because this is reversed, that you're kind of almost realizing what needs to change in order for you to move forward. So keep that in mind. There it is, journey. It's moving forward from something that you are learning from the past. Then you have Servant. Look at the enemy that doesn't have a power on you. Somebody was holding, as the Money card, last one. Somebody was holding, and it could be your boss or a partner, somebody who was making decisions about the money, or you're dependent on this person, and it's kind of like maybe really getting to you, that maybe you have been always there, and it's just simply that you are kind of realizing, I'm there, I'm doing this, I have to eat crow just to keep this job, and what did you ever do for me, kind of a thing. I went out of my way, not just doing the things that I'm paid for. Same thinking can be about a partner. You're really thinking what is really serving you well, but this is not a good week to make permanent decisions, because the Moon can really make you really think that there's like something that is there that you really need to react, but if you do, it's going to be wrong decisions. So just bide your time. That will be my best advice for you guys, because you might make a really wrong decision that is not going to be easy to reverse. So keep that in mind. And please guys, like if you haven't, we are coming to Taurus. So happy belated birthday to all of you who did have one. And now guys, it's completely kind of like new cycle. So this is a new moon in Gemini, so that means yesterday Gemini started. So you guys, you know, you work hard. That's kind of like your representative with this Hierophant. But during this Gemini new moon, it is really time for you to play hard. So I think it's time for you to buy yourself a present. Maybe other people were buying presents during your birthday time, but now you need to do it to yourself. So you are that earth sign, right? And you really need to reward yourself for things and the repositioning and everything you have been doing recently, right? And show yourself some love. And you have Five of Swords. This is about some kind of victory of some sort, and this is much better representation. It's like exhausted warrior. I know we do see somebody also walking away. Somebody just slide down their sword and they say, I'm done with it. So maybe like you have been battling some sort with people. He's like, it's interesting, like he's all kind of enveloped in the shield, and he's kind of like now needing to have a rest. It was like lots of attention that actually needed to happen. I really like the Nine of Cups, and look at see the little freaking feather. He ate a bird of some sort, and the Four of Pentacles, which is coming down for you. And it's again this energy of 9. You're going to have a very similar energy to Aries, right? And this is again telling me like, I'm like, hey, you know, this really should be one of those weeks where you really relax, right? Because Four of Pentacles is really talking about it like you're holding it to yourself, you're keeping it for yourself, right? And Five of Swords, it means, okay, you really pushed very hard. Maybe you kind of like came to this point where, you know, you're a little bit tired. Maybe it kind of like feels like really too much, right? But also, Four of Pentacles means that other people might react, hey, you know, you're not doing this for me, etc. Because this is also a card that talks about accumulation of wealth, but it's also the card that kind of like talks about or warns about greed and warns about being materialistic, right? So she is over here, if you see, she's kind of like clutching basically her wealth, right? And is kind of like really aware, like this is what they have. I really worked very hard for that, right? So I think this is not much advice to give other than, you know, you have been through some kind of battles. Like, I mean, this Five of Swords is kind of like a really difficult card. It can talk about a conflict, it can talk about the tension and disagreements, but look, you're coming up. You're coming up on top. You're a winner. This is some kind of compromise maybe that has been done. Maybe this isolation was getting to you, and you're kind of like finding the way to really find something that is going to, I don't know, disperse, dissolve, remove the stress of some sort, right? So this is also creating productive relationships over here, something that feels okay, right? This is a knight who has conquered and disarmed others, right? He has the swords of his enemies around him, but he's not feeling a triumph, right? It's kind of like what they call a pyrrhic or a hollow victory, right? This can also represent the damage that you are doing to others while you are walking on your path of victory. So be very careful about that. You know what they say, be careful who you step on when you're going up, because you'll be bumping into the same people on your way down, right? So if you felt that you failed at something, or if you're feeling disarmed or maybe even useless or vulnerable, then this is really telling you to really look around and understand that you have all these weapons. You have all of that. You just need to learn them more productively, and you need to fight your way forward, right? Maybe you have acted selfishly in the past, or somebody accused you of that, and maybe those actions are now affecting that current situation. So maybe you're dealing with, okay, somebody doesn't trust me, but I'm going to serve myself over here and keep it to myself. So you almost like you're rewarding yourself because somebody is shutting you out. So You know, it would be good to make amends this week, and it can sometimes talk about, calling somebody out when this card appears, but in your own heart, you should know that something that you're doing is affecting others in a negative way. And this really talks about a lot about introspection. You're an earth sign, so the Four of Pentacles did show up, but Four of Pentacles is not really opening to introspection. It's more or less closing. Somebody's giving you an opinion that you are not willing to listen. So it's going to be a lesson learning thing where I don't think it's going to really, you're not going to master the lesson, because you're going to find a way to please you. But be very careful. You'll please you at what cost? If it puts somebody else down, maybe somebody else is going to shut you out. Be very careful. This is going to be really a week for you to do compromise. Be open to that. Okay. So, hello Teresa. Nice to see you. So now we are going doors, as Barbie said. I'm not going to cover it. I'm just going to open it over here. And I cannot play the music for the end because I have to figure out how to connect my speaker. I guess I pulled it from my computer when I moved everything. So I'm going to do it off the screen here. So oops. So this is a card number 1. This is the card number 2. And this is the card number 3. So if you guys picked a door number 1, you got an anchor. So maybe you're asking for something to be more solid. Maybe you're asking for something to it can work both ways. You can lift an anchor, you can put an anchor. So either somebody wants to leave or somebody wants to stay, right? It is actually a very important card in tarot. It's like one before last, which is kind of like really, really high, high frequency and high vibration. It's a very positive, right? It is about some kind of destination. So clearly it's a good yes. It's something about grounding and reliable, right? So it's something stable and lasting. That's what you really want. You're not compromising anymore. Something is wobbly, something is halfway. You're not much interested in that. This can also talk about the beach, literally, right? When this really, really shows up. So it's something about the long term, and it could be a really good and positive yes. And then it's the house, the second card. It's kind of like a really weird card because I wish I have a house like this instead my little small apartment over here, but that's the way the cookie crumbles, right? So what basically is happening over here is the whole house is about security and stability. It's going to be just like the Emperor. It could be about our residence, right? It's also positive, right? It's a home, it's a real estate. If you ask a question about the business of some sort and how business is going to work, or if you're going to change residence, you're going to look for the place that has to feel like home, whether this is where you're staying or where you're going. But generally it really talks about the place where you live. And it would mean rather, I would prefer to say staying rather than leaving. It can also talk about your family and your domestic affairs and the things that kind of like go on behind closed doors, right? So it is about security and stability and good stable relationships. So it's kind of like nesting times and candlelight dinners, popcorn and television and the kind of start, right? So if you ask a career question, there's going to be clearly working from home kind of a thing, right? And things will kind of improve. It's also yes. Ooh, and the last one is the stars, right? So it is about some communication. Maybe some of you are asking for somebody to get in touch with you of some sort. It's also a very positive card. It's also answer yes. It's about the dreams and guides and healing and hopes and success, and you might be getting psychic messages over here, right? It's almost like a wish upon a star kind of a thing, right? It's kind of like what you need to think about this card, right? It's not necessarily time for action, but rather to kind of like listen your inner voice, and you need to really trust in yourself, and you need to allow what you know is true to kind of like guide you. So it's very, very important really to know. It's something about being peaceful or in peace. It's also something that kind of goes through the air, so it might be phone conversation, it might be text or email, that kind of like stuff, right? It's slow but it's steady, and you really you're advised here to stick with the path that you already are on. So it is really, really important to do that. So that, guys, concludes our meeting for today, and I really hope you guys have a safe and lovely Memorial Day weekend. We had the last week, we had a long weekend, so they kind of like shifted, and then we are going to resume it the next time around. I wish you all, guys, beautiful, beautiful kind of like days ahead. Be careful. You still kind of like, we need to distance. I know it's kind of hard with this beautiful weather, but just you know, it's going to be a tough year. Just don't make it tougher, and enjoy this new moon in Gemini. It's a time to dream big, as I said in the beginning. We do have retrogrades as well that are going to challenge us in what we want. Do not let things get in the way. I love you. I wish you all the best, and I cannot play you music over here. I should have also plan B for these kind of situation that come here. So I'm going to say